From the Malkin Athletics Center on the campus of Harvard University, this is coverage of college volleyball on ESPN. It's day one of the Harvard Invitational, and the hosts, Harvard Crimson, finally take the floor in the 2024 season as they welcome in the Stonehill Skyhawks. Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside our broadcast booth alongside Will Henschel. I'm Ben Alter. Thank you for joining us this evening. Will, Stonehill, a young program, 1-3 on the year, and already a milestone victory, beating their first ever non-conference opponent at the D1 level.
Yeah, Stonehill recently making the jump from D2 to D1 and got a hard-earned victory against Holy Cross, a 5-setter. The three losses they do have on the season, though, are pretty tough to look at. 3-0 losses. They're looking to make a fight tonight against Harvard.
It'll be interesting to see Harvard taking the floor for the first time all season, so no scouting footage on the Crimson, and it's a team that underwent a lot of turnover in the offseason.
Yeah, you're looking at a Harvard team that lost its top 4 scorers from last season. That's going to be a really big adjustment for head coach Jen Weiss and the rest of this Harvard team, but she's got a lot of players that she's excited about. She's thinking about new ways to run this offense, and it should be a very interesting year here in Cambridge.
And you see the Stonehill Skyhawks being introduced to what is a largely growing crowd here at the Malkin Athletic Center. And talking about the changes for Harvard, gonna expect to see some players who've been around the program but maybe haven't had a chance to grab a hold of those full-time starting roles. A couple that Jen Weiss talked about, Bryn Faltinsky and Corinne Fury. Not a lot of outside hitters listed on this Harvard roster right now, and those are two players who have seen sort of spot duty over the past couple of years, might be counted on in bigger roles this season.
Yeah, when you look at the personnel turnover that they've had, it is kind of a mystery of who do you ask to kind of fill these roles, especially when those roles were almost surefire point getters for you. And now Bryn Faltinsky, a junior, and Corinne Fury, a senior, kind of stepping into what is for them a little bit of uncharted territory. They're going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting when that really hasn't been asked of them the past couple of years. I mean, last year, Bryn Faltinsky only 40 kills, and going back to last season, Corinne Fury only had 2 kills across 4 sets played. So they're going to have a much heavier workload, especially compared to what they're used to. And if all else fails, it's your pin hitters that you start to lean on a lot. So Harvard might be putting a lot of their trust in 2 players that haven't seen a lot of the floor.
Well, hoping that they will be able to come through. They certainly are upperclassmen, have been around and practiced plenty. There is Bryn Faltinsky leading the way in the starters introductions for Harvard. Corinne Fury right behind. Stonehill, as we said, has the advantage of already having 4 matches under their belt. As you said, Will, 3 straight set sweeps at the hands of Purdue, Fort Wayne, Siena, and Bryant most recently on Wednesday. They do have that 5-set win over Holy Cross. And this is a Harvard team that they have played a couple times already at the Division I level. Got swept by Harvard in this tournament a year ago. So, a little bit of familiarity at least in this building and against this program.
Yeah, they're 2 programs that certainly share a lot of proximity to each other. Stonehill not too far away from Cambridge. And like you said, a little bit of familiarity. Harvard does have the upper hand in the overall matchup, but Stonehill is kind of an on-the-rise program. And that win against Harvard, or excuse me, I should say Holy Cross, was gutsy. I mean, it is difficult to go 5 sets against anybody, but when Stonehill is such a young program and Holy Cross, which has definitely established itself in central Massachusetts as part of that Patriot League, it's no easy feat, and Stonehill should feel really proud about that W and look to build some momentum off of it against some familiar faces.
Both teams going through the non-conference, trying to build themselves up towards respective league play. As the starters are out there, we'll take a brief pause for the national anthem. So here we go with Stonehill and Harvard. You see two white jerseys leading the way in the handshake line for Stonehill. So the Skyhawks dressing two liberos. Again, that's one of the rule changes in the 2024 season for women's college volleyball. You can dress two liberos. Bianca Fitch, Sarah Frager, both in the opposite colored jersey for Stonehill.
Yeah, and this is going to bring a little bit of a new dynamic to the women's game this season. Some liberos are better at certain things than others. A lot of liberos are, pass reception, or I should say serve reception specialist. Others are a lot more aggressive on the floor, kind of as almost secondary quarterbacks to the setter. So it just brings a whole new dynamic and gives teams a lot of flexibility, especially when a lot of these rosters, especially with the popularity of volleyball growing, these rosters are getting deeper and deeper, and you may want to see more than one face in the libero jersey.
And for Harvard, only one libero dressed. That is the senior Lindsay Zhang, defensive specialist. The libero spot is where Harvard brings back the majority of its experience. Zhang is senior. They also have Hannah Wynn, a DS. She's played a lot already through her first few years with the Crimson.
Yeah, Lindsay Zhang, we talked about liberos that are maybe good at pass reception, maybe a little better on floor defense, but Zhang is really well-rounded. Had 14 service aces last season and was averaging 3.29 digs per set.
Another area where Harvard brings back the experienced setter. Rocky Aguirre, a senior, comes in just over 1,000 assists for her career. She starts us off with the serve. Hand pass from the libero Fitch. And Aya Parnell the set, and tumbling it through the block is Emma Graves. Hands were high for Harvard, but Graves put a nice touch on the ball.
Yeah, that's a good point really to start out for Stonehill. A hand pass on first serve is not an easy thing to do. Usually that takes some warming up to, but a nice concentrated pass by Fitch.
Mia Bernardino with the serve, and Harvard goes to the middle. Nice scramble, though, from Stonehill. This time to the outside, and Fury puts it away. Corinne Fury, just 4 sets last year, was a little bit more of a mainstay in the rotation her first couple seasons. She is a terrific player out of the state of Delaware.
And this is going to be so important. I mean, that was a long play, only on the second point of the match, but Fury keeping composed and finding high hands.
And comes right back with an ace. Senior delivering here early on for Harvard with the kill and the ace for the first 2 Crimson points. Pass that time from Georgia Murphy, set to the middle. Quick pickup by Aguirre. Zhang, the backup bump set, and Bryn Faltinsky is blocked. Set a little bit off the net that time, and a good response up front. Leah Michalowski, senior out of Holden, Massachusetts, combining with Graves on the block.
Yeah, Michalowski only listed at 5'10". She had to really time that perfectly and just got in front of the Harvard attack.
Now the other libero, Sarah Frager, comes in to serve. Swing from Faltinsky again returned. Back set this time. Ali Farquhar on the diagonal shot. Another of the young players jumping into a starting role. Farquhar, sophomore from California, played just 9 sets, 9 kills, 6 blocks a year ago, but has that nice natural left-handed swing from the opposite side.
Yeah, suits her position really well on the right-hand side, and it's good to have a player like that can look deep corner and really spread out the defense.
Tough serve from Riley Patterson. Back set is blocked, saved by Fitch. Rolled over, dug out by Fury to the middle. Little fingertip swing, but it works nonetheless. That is the first-year Riley Resmer out of Noblesville, Indiana, picking up her first kill.
So good for Harvard to have consistent height at the middle blocker position. You have Riley Resmer up front, and then you got Riley Patterson on the secondary rotation, who's just been a unit for Harvard last season.
Ryan Parnell, the set, and a block. Big block set up there by Farquhar and Resmer.
Farquhar standing at 6'3", uses her frame so well, and it was a perfect read. Nothing that Stonehill could do.
Quick 5-1 run here from Harvard early on. Parnell again has to chase a little bit. The back set rolled over. Fury there for the dig. Aguirre gets to it. Faltinsky off the block. And again, Stonehill there up front. This time it's Abby Farrell. We get to the setter change for Stonehill. Skyhawks through the first few matches have been running a 2-setter offense with Parnell and fellow sophomore Maddie Shaman, who comes in to serve. Harvard, a team that for the better part of the last decade has run a two-setter offense. Now, with not a lot of experience at the setter spot, they're going to go and switch things up to a one-setter offense with Aguirre playing in the front row.
And it's a little bit of a gamble for Harvard because you're so familiar with the 6-2 offense, but Aguirre, there's a lot of faith been put in her, and they trust her, especially up in the front row.
Terrific slam there by Farrell and a beautiful set from Shaman.
Maddie Shaman actually listed on the Skyhawks website as another setter. So she's been a player that's been very flexible. A lot of these Stonehill players that you see out on the court can play multiple roles. That's been very important for them the past couple of years.
Harvard out of system again. Faltinsky able to rip it through. Save there by Bernardino in the back row. Free ball for the Crimson. Aguirre back set. Farquhar rejected. Nice save by Aguirre. Faltinsky on the tip. Picked up. Shaman over to the right side. Aguirre got a piece. Farquhar and Zhang combined for it. Aguirre just throws it over to the middle again, and Zhang could not get a read on that one. Nice offset there for Farrell, who picks up her second kill in as many swings.
Yeah, Farrell's been red hot for Stonehill in the first goings of this opening set, but that was just a miscommunication on that second ball that Zhang got tied up with down low in the near side of the screen, and that's just a ball that should be the liberos every time, but early season miscommunications are going to be prevalent.
Faltinsky off the block. Frager gets enough of it. Bardino goes deep. Into the middle. Resmer zips that one off of Shaman. Second kill for Resmer already, and Harvard quiets the 4-0 Stonehill run. So here's where the interesting spot comes in. You see Aguirre next to Faltinsky there in the front row. Amelie Lima comes in to play the back row for Faltinsky, a sophomore out of Newport Beach, California. Stonehill out of system here. Bernardino chucks it over. Slide ball. Resmer out wide. So they tried to keep feeding Resmer and had a good look at it, but just missed it a little bit wide of that near sideline.
It was a good read by Resmer. She certainly had an opening along the alley on the block, but just pushed it outside of that red painted area where the Crimson is written on the near side. It's a good shot. She might try to go back to that as the game progresses, and the blocking might get a little tighter.
Fury out of the back row, wide again. Tough first pass that time from the senior, and couldn't redirect it into the floor. Gabby Polishuk at the line for Stonehill Skyhawks. First lead since it was 1-0. Fury again with the first pass. A little better this time. Set up Faltinsky, and that one's out wide. So Lima actually playing the back row for Farquhar right now. Just correct that. Faltinsky still in the ball game.
That's back-to-back swings for Harvard where the ball has ended up out of play off of unfortunate first touches. The passing, everything's connected to that, so it's got to be a great first pass to get the offense going.
Serve into the net that time from Polishuk. Now Faltinsky will sit, replaced by Hannah Wynn, the junior from Portland, Oregon. 130 digs a year ago in this defensive specialist role. Shaman out wide. Bardino's first swing, dug by Wynn. Here's Fury now in the front row, puts that one down.
And immediately, Harvard notices a passing issue. They see that there are not a lot of balls getting inside the 3-meter line. They bring in Hannah Wynn, and immediately it pays dividends and allows Fury to have a wide open look on the left side.
Tight set for Shaman, tipped over. Aguirre got a piece of it. Fury off the net. Set up again. Around the block. Dug. Into the middle. Resmer tipped it over, and that forced Bernardino into a tough spot. She came over to double on the block, and Resmer just too tall. Tipped it right over.
That is such a composed play to make, especially for Resmer as a first year. If the set's not perfect, a lot of players might panic, might try to do too much and just try to hit it over the net. But Resmer smartly tapping it over and finding a congested part of the floor.
So just a tad long from Wynn there. Harlan had gotten the mini run to go back in front. All square at 9. here in the opening set between the Crimson and the Skyhawks. Serve from Farrell, and that's out. Second miss for Stonehill. Talked to Craig Martin earlier in the week, Will, and it was something he was sort of harped on about his team is they cannot afford to make errors on their own side.
Nah, it's if you hand other teams points, it's just the worst possible thing you can do. You need to be aggressive serving, yes, but you got to know when to kind of put it in the bottle and save onto it.
Nice save by Patterson there. Rally continues. Berdino crushes that one. The junior from Raleigh, Mass. has put up really good numbers through the first 4 matches for Stonehill. Has averaged 9 kills and is hitting over 250.
A really strong play from her. She did not have a lot of time to run up. That was basically just vertical jump right there. She was still able to elevate well above the net and put that deep on the back line.
Back to the setter switch for Stonehill as Parnell re-enters. Former Boston Globe Division I Athlete of the Year out of Lincoln Sudbury. Highly touted setter coming out of high school.
Parnell had 36 assists in the win against Holy Cross. That was a career high by 9. So when she plays a lot, obviously your stats are going to be a little bit padded playing in a 5-set game versus a 3-set game, but when she gets in the groove and Stonehill is hitting the ball well, she puts up some impressive numbers.
This has been a steady, progressive approach for this Stonehill team. You see sort of all different varieties of approach, and we've seen a bunch of programs that have transitioned to the Division I level in recent times. And for Stonehill, they sort of just kind of kept the group together, and everyone raised their overall level of play for the upperclassmen, and the players that have come in over the last couple of years have just sort of added to the overall talent level.
Yeah, no doubt. You got players on this team that thought they were going to be playing Division II volleyball. Now they're playing D1, and they've made it look fairly seamless.
Terrific set there by the middle. Riley Patterson on a scramble ball. Put it up. Fury went and got it. Third kill for Fury. Harvard goes back in front. Here's Aguirre with the serve. That's out. It's number 2 for Harvard. Each side with a couple of misses. Harvard has the only ace so far. And we're looking at where Harvard might improve from last year to this year. Serving is one area you could look at. They returned their top 3 in aces from a year ago. Aguirre and Patterson among that group. Nice roll shot there from Fury on a tough back set.
Such a tough arm slot for Fury to reach because was almost reaching behind her on that shot. Could have tried a full swing to put that in the back left corner, but just kind of opens up her hands at the last second and pushes that, rolls it right between the 2 back row defenders.
Fury with the serve. Parnell back set off the block, and Aguirre couldn't get enough of it. Good deflection off the block that time. I believe that was Graves again.
Graves
Stonehill able to answer back.
So far, just had a couple of really explosive swings. Senior out of Vestal, New York.
Plenty of time for Aguirre to settle on that one. Farquhar the angle. Parnell got it. Zhang. Farquhar again. The tip this time. Parnell again. Oh, that's Graves, excuse me. Parnell sends it over. Outside. Faltinsky. It's blocked, but saved. Faltinsky a second time with a tip. Read easily. Back row shot. Berdino tools the block.
What a play by the Skyhawks. 2 one-handed digs by Parnell and Graves to keep that point alive and allow the Skyhawks the opportunity to reset, take a breath, and get back in the point. And then ultimately, it's the back row quick that does it.
You see some folks in purple supporting Stonehill, donning the Malkin Athletic Center crowd. Skyhawks just doing a little maintenance on the floor after the point. Here comes Frager, the Yellow Barrel, sophomore out of North Carolina. He's did more of a serving specialist type role. Challenges Zhang with that one. Off the net, Faltinsky with a rocket. First official kill for Faltinsky today. She's seen a ton of sets already, but finally able to get that one through the back.
Averaged just over 1 a set last year, 1.38 to be exact. And again, Ben, like we said earlier in the show, they're going to need Faltinsky to be a big part of this Harvard offense.
Miscommunication there. Nice diving save, though, by Parnell. Just to keep the point alive, Faltinsky says enough of that. Another smash, this one down the line.
I almost questioned Faltinsky's move to make a play on that ball. It looked like it could have been drifting out, but she answers and gets her own pass and just slams that down the sideline. That was a great shot.
Patterson serve, another tough one. Parnell has to chase. Tossed over, Resmer got it back and finds the back line. Resmer the pass, Resmer the kill. Good start for the first year, already 4 kills here in the opening set.
This is something that I've seen not just out of Resmer, but really in a lot of modern middle blockers. Some of them, and at least you go back a couple of years, they would be almost afraid to pass that ball. Resmer, very courageous, steps up immediately, takes that ball with the hands, and again, takes her own pass.
And it's followed up with an ace by Riley Patterson. Had 30 of those a year ago for Harvard, and Craig Martin is going to take a timeout. Mini run for Harvard. Crimson have their largest lead of the opening set here on opening night, 16-13. Talked about this, a Harvard team in transition. And we've already seen some of the bright spots early on. Resmer with 4 kills, Fury with 4 kills, and now Patterson getting it done at the service line.
Hey, you're looking at the 2 middle blockers right now in Resmer and Patterson, and the past 2 or 3 plays, they've no doubt been the best player on the floor. When you talk so much about the outside hitters being one of the backbone of a team's offense, you can never forget about the middle blockers because Harvard's got 2 really good 6'1"ers that can just do anything.
Question is, how effective will they be in the blocking game? That was one of Harvard's biggest strengths last year. They finished in the top 20 nationally in blocks per set. Number 1 in the Ivy League in that category. They're going to try to compete with the likes of Yale and Princeton at the top of the Ivy League. They're going to need to try to slow down some of those powerful offenses.
Yeah, 2.7 blocks per set last season for Harvard. That's an important number to hit for Harvard, and Jen Weiss has talked about that. They want to try to hit that 2 mark every single set.
So far, 1 block for the Crimson, 1 block for Stonehill. Patterson into the net. Skyhawks will take it back over. They get to their setter switch. Graves comes out along with Parnell. Shaman is back in. And now it is Sammy Franco into the front row. Right side spot, sophomore out of San Jose, California.
Stonehill successfully ices the kicker, and now they got to retaliate on offense.
Shaman clipped the net with the serve. Back row, it's Fury, just wide. Couple times she's looking for that right corner out of the back row, and a couple times she has been just off the mark.
And Frager was going for it, the libero for Stonehill, and just bailed out at the last moment. If it missed, it didn't miss by much.
Fury gets under that one. Faltinsky just brings it back across. Free ball for Stonehill. Shaman on the tight set, goes back, and it is in for Franco. First kill for the sophomore.
Franco, despite the 3-0 loss, did have 3 kills against Siena. And that's her first real big swing of the evening, I should say.
Leads to a timeout from Jennifer Weiss on the Harvard bench. So Stonehill calls a timeout when they go down 3, and they answer back with a 3-0 run. And so far, this has been a first set where teams have exchanged small-ish runs.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a big game of streaks, and this is just goes to show how important having good, consistent servers is. You don't really necessarily look for an ace every single time, but if you can have a serve that gets the other team out of system, off balance, puts their setter in a weird spot, that's going to go a long, long way. We saw Stonehill do this a few moments ago. As I said, they iced the kicker. They got the side out, and then they've been working with this serve possession for the better part of 4 points now, and Harvard's really been looking for answers.
Has to be an encouraging start for Stonehill after suffering what was a tough loss to Bryant on Wednesday. Short turnaround, and Stonehill just had a really tough game. Bryant ended up hitting over 450 for the match. Stonehill ended up hitting in the negatives. Skyhawks are actually out hitting Harvard here through the first part of the first set.
Yeah, they should be certainly proud of that, hitting 273 to Harvard's 152 so far. A lot of people did not expect this kind of high-flying play from Stonehill, especially against a Harvard team that brought in a lot of really good talent. Not brought in, I should say, but has a really deep roster and a lot of talent up front. But Stonehill has really been playing with them all game.
Only one error for Stonehill so far, that coming on the block from Harvard. So Skyhawks have been pretty efficient in terms of finding ways to run their offense. There's another block, but it's just out. Faltinsky getting enough English on that ball to see it past the sideline.
And that, for Harvard, is one of the scariest balls to watch drop to the floor because it's just marching down the tape, and you're just praying it doesn't land in bounds, but just too much on the hit and sails successfully out of play.
Tough serve from Lima, sent across, and that one over everybody. Sent out of play by Georgia Murphy.
A lot of heat on that bump set from the other side of the floor. Georgia Murphy, basically all she could do on that.
Shaman, roll shot, diving effort from Faltinsky gets her there. Fury out of the back row again, and again, just a little too much mustard. Bernardino doing the Keanu Reeves in the Matrix, ducking back out of the way.
It's a good impersonation.
I'll need a Tylenol for my back after that.
Is it criminal to say that I've never seen The Matrix in my 24 years of life? Is that?
I would say yes.
I should probably figure that out.
Well, there's an ace. Followed up nicely there. Polishuk just dropped it in on the back line. And again, Harvard with a push, Stonehill with an answer.
Polishuk played 7 sets last season, did not report a single ace. Oh, and there's another.
Well, a miscommunication. Faltinsky wanted to let it go, and then Fury sort of made a last-ditch effort to try to pass it. Jennifer Weiss going to make a change here on the service-receive defense. Greg Martin going to Polishuk saying, hey, just keep doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, any kind of floater that trails and starts to sink towards that back corner is really menacing.
Same spot. This time it's picked up. Faltinsky blocked, kept alive. That's Taya Piet who had the serve receive. And it's Resmer again who finishes it off. So Piet makes the cameo appearance. Gets a couple good passes in to get the side out that Harvard needed. And now Wynn comes back in to serve.
Yeah, Piet coming in to pinch hit. Averaged 3.21 digs per set last season, is a really capable defensive specialist. Wouldn't be shocked if we saw her a few times in the libero uniform for Harvard this season. But she does her job perfectly, makes the pass and leads to the point win.
Set on the move. Wynn takes care of that. Fury high off the block, and nobody can catch it for Stonehill. Fury, maybe a little bit of a tough turn through the back row, but back in the front, she's taking care of business.
Yeah, that one just sounded different off the hand of Corinne Fury. Real big pop off the block and out of play.
And Stonehill out of system. Bernardino, oh, what a good spot there. Just put a ton of topspin on that ball and dropped it in front of Zhang.
A good friend of mine who played Division I volleyball in the Atlantic Coast Conference called that area of the court the donut, and she said it's the most difficult part of the court to defend.
Aguirre with the center dump. Good time to pull that one out of the trick bag in 2020. Aguirre steals one for Harvard there. Zhang back to serve now.
Man, Aguirre, I was just looking at the screen to make sure. Usually when you see a setter dump, setter's a little bit closer to the net. It's a bit more aggressive. Aguirre is in the front row, so she can attack the ball above the net, but opting not to right there.
Slammed by Fury, comes back off the block. Aguirre calls her own number, picked up. Bernardino, dug by Wynn. Long set, Fury pushes deep. It is saved by Fitch. Free ball coming. All into the corner. Patterson into the nets. So Stonehill fights, claws, scratches, and they steal it back.
What a play by Stonehill just to keep this ball alive, and it was nearly a demolition of the ball by Patterson on the other end for Harvard, but the set just a bit too low. She puts it right into the nylon.
Arnell back in to serve. Tough line drive. Aguirre comes under. Fury is blocked. Patterson there. Fury again to the tip. Arnell. Frager with the backup set. Rolled and in. A little bit of a late reaction from Wynn. As Graves drops it over the top.
Stonehill players, I think their 4 games of experience leading into this matchup is starting to show itself. They seem to be on the same page more frequently than Harvard. They're playing with a big chip on their shoulder, and they're looking to get set win number 4 on the year.
Timeout called for the Crimson. Second and final timeout for Harvard, as they try to avoid dropping the first set of their season. This is customary in volleyball. The Ivy League teams start about a week after everybody else. And as is customary for this Harvard program, they start the season at home with the Harvard Invitational. They've done so for the majority of their program history. And hosting again this weekend, Stonehill, Merrimack, and UNH. In case you missed our earlier match here on ESPN, UNH went to 2-2 on the year with a straight set victory over Merrimack. There will be 4 matches in this building tomorrow, starting with the early 10 a.m. tip-off between UNH and Stonehill.
It's always so good for Harvard, and a lot of schools do this around the nation. So, but it's just so good to get the season started at home. You're not making your team travel, but you are getting a lot of games under your belt very early on in the season. It's just great for the repetitions. It's great for team chemistry, and it just gets the season moving on the right end.
Talking to Jennifer Weiss, she was hoping that being at home would help her team maybe get through the nerves a little quicker of opening the season. Certainly getting a good test here in set 1. Pushed off the block, but right to Parnell. High arcing ball. Bernardino down the line. Good shot. Lima was there. And just out of the reach of Polishuk. Fury again utilizing that block to her advantage.
Polishuk almost looked like she started to cheat in towards the middle of the court. Maybe thought there was going to be a tip coming from Fury, but Fury instead tries to go to the back line, and Polishuk is just too far up to make a good play on the ball.
Now Aguirre back to the line to serve. Parnell. Graves over the block, right to Win. Aguirre back set. Farquhar pushes. Bernardino rejected. Farquhar just smothered it.
When you need a momentum swing, and that's exactly what Harvard needed right there, you look to your block, and Farquhar delivered in a big way.
Crimson had just 1 block the entire set. They get another there from 6'3", Ali Farquhar. Comes from Cardinal Newman, a former 3-time All-League first-teamer. Just played 9 sets in her debut season last year, but did chip in 6 blocks in that time. So good size on the pins. They're hoping that she can sort of replicate a little bit some of the production that senior Ava Rouser gave them in that same spot a year ago.
Yeah, and Farquhar is one of those players that brings a lot of production to the floor no matter what rotation she's in. She is obviously a very strong attacker, brings that lefty dynamic to that side of the court. And to quote Jen Weiss, her blocking is fabulous. She was waxing about the blocking ability of her 6'3" sophomore, and we just showed it. We just saw Exhibit A right there. on a huge block to put Harvard up here in the first.
Now both teams out of timeouts. Harvard in front by one here, late stages of the first set. Overpass. Patterson kept alive. Parnell win on the free ball. Patterson again. No nonsense. She's been waiting for that set.
Yeah, the first one didn't fall. A little bit of a ping pong maneuver between the Stonehill players. Great play on them to keep that ball in the air. And Patterson came right back. She says, they're not getting this one. Puts it right into the heart of them.
Set point on Aguirre's serve. To the middle it goes, and it's long. Decent look there for Michalowski, but tried to put it in a spot and just missed. So Harvard battles through and fights their way to a 25-22 first set victory. Harvard in front of Stonehill 1-0. Back to the Balkan Athletic Center.
To have that kind of consistency when you're home, and home court advantage is a real thing. And Harvard proving that if you can rely year in and year out on getting a pretty high number of home wins, you're going to set yourself up for a lot of success, especially in a very compact, very dense Ivy League where every single win matters so much.
Well, Harvard will have the opportunity to start at home in Ivy League play. Their first 3 Ivy League matches, all here at the Malkin Athletic Center, starting at the end of September against Dartmouth. If they can sort of replicate that home record a little bit, they'll be off to a good start in Ivy League play.
Yeah.
It certainly remains to be seen where teams will have situated themselves at the end of the month.
This later start that you mentioned about with the Ivy League sports in the first set, it really allows the Ivy League to kind of zoom out and see what is going on in the college volleyball world and almost react to it. You know, what are these other teams doing? How is Stonehill approaching this game after playing 4 games before today? Now Harvard there's no scouting report on Harvard. They're a new entity coming into this season with all the turnover they had. Whereas Stonehill, you know, they've had some experience.
We saw sort of Stonehill working a variety of shots. They were able to play some pretty tough defense as well. And we'll see Harvard maybe working through some of the kinks, especially on their out-of-system sets.
Yeah, the out-of-system play for both sides needs to be certainly polished up. I don't want to say improved because it's so hard to practice that, but just being able to get the ball over the net and make a play and just make sure you're not giving the other team too many free balls. Those are the kind of plays that a team can really bounce back on, really retaliate you with. If you get too many of those, the set can easily get away from you.
Obviously, as coaches will tell you, want to play good defense, want to have that perfect first touch every time, but the reality of the sport is doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen nearly as much as the players want it to.
Parnell with a serve. Good first ball there from Wynn, and Parnell able to save it. Rally extender again for Stonehill. Off the free ball, it's Patterson into the double, and she goes and gets it. Second jump ability from Riley Patterson.
I barely even saw Patterson touch the ground. I don't know how she got above the net so quickly, but yeah, reads that play perfectly. Ball is just kind of teetering on that line, so it's anybody's game as to who can get to it first. Patterson does and makes Stonehill pay.
Second kill for the Ivy League second teamer of a year ago. Aguirre serve. Parnell sets it up. Bernardino finds the corner. I think it caught a hand on the block anyway, but landed in nonetheless for Bernardino.
Yeah, Bernardino. We talked to Chris Martin a little earlier. She was part of that transition from D2 to D1, and they've been really pleased with how she played. But Chris Martin said a summer of playing and coaching beach volleyball has kind of elevated her game.
That time catches her up in the shoulder. Perfect shot there from Fury on her offside. Yeah, since she really added some vertical, getting those opportunities to play on the sand. Taylor Piette back in to serve here for Harvard. So maybe a little bit of a tweak to the Crimson rotation. Zhang with a dig. Faltinsky turned away. Terrific block there by Graves and Michalowski.
Graves is slowly turning into the player of the game for Stonehill. Has made a lot of really strong plays at the net and it has accounted for a lot of these Stonehill points so far.
Good pass, and Patterson with another slam. So where her opposite middle, Resmer, sort of carried the offensive weight in that first set, all of a sudden Patterson now with 2 kills early on in this second set.
Yeah, she's up to 3 right now.
Bump set from Parnell. Tough pass and out of the reach of Aguirre. There's not a ton of air under that one from Piet.
It's a tough ball to pick up by Piet because it is coming in so hot. She's moving backwards, so she's got to reset her feet and try to get her hands below it. And that's kind of what causes the line drive to the middle of the court.
Senior from Hawaii's battled through some injuries in her career. Healthy at the start of this season, which is a terrific sign for her. Tight set. Aguirre got it up there. Resner tipped it over. They're going to say Aguirre got over the net there on the back row attack. Not going to win the debate. Stonehill, a quick answer to grab a 4-3 lead.
Yeah, got to be careful on those plays that are tight to the net, making sure that ball remains on your side.
And a tough serve. Piet will square it for Faltinsky. Saved into the net. Good diving effort there by Farrell. Gives Stonehill another chance. And it's one thing I think we've seen here, Will, through this first set plus is that no matter how dire the situation may look, the Skyhawks have really fought hard to get every last touch on the ball.
Yeah, they are not giving up on anything. You know, point's not over until the ball hits the ground, so Stonehill is taking that to the extreme.
Tough serve from Lima. And the block is there. Not sure that made it over, but Resmer was in position there on the swing from Franco.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if that was the block or the nylon, but a really aggressive swing on a set that maybe should have had a little bit less on it.
Shaman goes back. There's the block that time. Faltinsky and Resmer pairing up. This has started with some good serves from the sophomore Lima. You add her into the mix with Patterson and Wynn and Aguirre. Makes for a tough serving group from Harvard. Block that time on Farrell. Back set, wasn't ready for it, but somehow still punched over. Slide ball, Resmer. Oh, what a great dig by Berardinha. Farrell's push. And it's out of the reach of Aguirre. Now, what an effort there by Berardinha.
The outstretched right hand to not only get that ball, most times if you're making that play, you're just trying to get the ball in the air and hope somebody can get underneath it. But to pass that inside the 3-meter line and have your setter be able to run an offense off of that, that's impressive.
Polishuk in to serve. Aguirre just chucks it over with the left hand. Big swing. Zhang popped it up. Watch on the swing again, out of the middle, and we're going to get Stonehill under the net. I believe Shaman may have just barely crossed that middle line as she was squaring to set that ball.
Shaman in a bit of a transition state when that ball was making its way to the net. She really had to hustle there. Did ultimately make a play on the ball without touching the net. It was not a net violation that was called, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Her foot just getting underneath that white center line.
Here comes Wynn with the serve. Into the middle, tipped off the block, dug by Lima. Set for Fury, tipped through, Shaman. Fitch, high bump set, Berardinha well off the net, put a charge into it. Fury through the double, but not down. Berardinha off the hands, off Fury, and out of the reach of everybody else. Once again, there's that little extra oomph from Mia Berardinha.
She's been hitting the ball with some authority tonight. Had 2 really good swings on that play. And if Fury, maybe that one wouldn't have been a winner if Fury didn't get her arm on it because it looked like Zhang was coming in behind her to pick that ball up.
There's Fury, another terrific swing. Diving effort. Farrell couldn't get enough of it. Fury already up to 8 kills now. Her career high is 11.
Something to keep our eyes on as this game continues, especially if she keeps playing at the pace she is.
Zhang waiting. Shaman up for Berardino again. Down the line, Lima's on it. Little roller, and Fury again finds a good spot in the back corner. That's a good example of another change to the women's college game this year. Ordinarily, you see that much spin on a set, and you would expect the double contact call from the official. That sort of has been taken out of the game now, as Zhang drops it in for an ace.
Yeah, I mean,
so now when a team has that second touch, you can sort of get away with a little more on the hands, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people did not agree with the ruling when it came out, saying that, you know, it's just going to make the setter position slightly more undisciplined and they're going to put less effort into trying to be better at setting. But I think really what it ended up doing, what people are starting to realize about it, is that it allows setters to run a more creative offense. You don't really have to be so worried about double touching on a back set or just getting too tied up and all that.
And especially if you're not a natural setter and you have to take a second ball, if you're in a out-of-system setup, you know, maybe you're more comfortable trying to hand set now as opposed to resorting to a bump.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's a net violation there on Harvard. Parnell back in. Fury again. Again, just finding those high hands time after time.
Such an important part of the game. You can't always rely on having the block open up and having a piece of the court visible to you that's not covered by a defender. But being able to take the opposing team's block and turn it into offense is such an important skill set.
Harvard extending their lead. And we're going to get an early timeout here from Craig Martin. A little bit of a different tone here to the second set. First set was back and forth. Teams were within 3 points pretty much every step of the way. Here, Harvard's built itself some early cushion.
Yeah, and it hasn't really just been one thing that's been working in the second set for Harvard. It's been the blocking, the serving. The hits have been phenomenal. The defense has been an absolute world stopper. It's been really, really solid all around for Harvard, and I think they're just starting to really pick up some steam and start firing on all cylinders.
Harvard now up to 5 aces after that last one from Aguirre. Jen Weiss, you see in the black on the left side of the huddle there. Longest tenured head coach in Harvard volleyball history, over 350 career wins. Celebrating a 10th anniversary as the Ivy League Coach of the Year. 2014, one of 3 Ivy League titles in Harvard's history. So Crimson hoping to challenge at the top of the Ivy League. Yale and Princeton once again sort of co-favorites. Harvard picked 4th in the Ivy League, same spot where they finished a year ago. Things a little bit different now in the Ivy League. Regular season still matters for sure, but it's all about just trying to finish top 4 and give yourself a chance in that 4-team tournament.
And, there's a reason they don't crown the champs in the preseason. You got to play, you got to compete, and you got to win some games. So Harvard still has an opportunity to add another banner to the rafters.
Shot into the net that time from Graves. As the Crimson continue to push the lead here with Aguirre at the line.
Yeah, Aguirre dropping in that service ace a little bit earlier before that timeout.
Tried to go super short that time, and too much air out of the balloon.
For the lollipop shot, tried to just drop that right over the net. Props for creativity. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Match 1, try out everything.
Yeah.
Right? See what works. Berardino. Set for Patterson. Oh, great pickup by Frager. Tough set. It's tight. Finds its way over through Farquhar somehow. Fury is blocked. Graves all over that one.
Graves with the block, but Frager with an unbelievable pickup in this point just 2 possessions ago. He really kept the point alive for Stonehill. A little bit of a scrambly play getting that ball over, but Harvard just sending it right into the arms of Graves.
Tough adjustment there for Fury. Sort of already committed herself down, and when that ball clipped the tape, she couldn't reach out in time.
That timeout that Stonehill took starting to already pay dividends as the Skyhawks beginning to claw back in the second.
Hammered long by Berardino. Fourth miss serve from Stonehill. Change here from Harvard. Spaltinski will come back into the front row. And Fury will come out. So this is really the tweak, I would suppose, from set 1 to set 2 for Harvard. We saw Fury play all 6 rotations here in the second set. They have gone to the senior Piet to play the back row for Fury.
And I think that just has to do with the cushion that Harvard has. You don't need Fury as a weapon in the back row so much. When you're up by 4 points, you may as well put Piet up there for the extra bolster to the defense.
Michalowski out wide. And we saw Fury a couple times try those back row attacks, but unable to direct them into the court. Back set off the block, fought off by Aguirre. Zhang will set it across for Farquhar. Bardino sends it over. Parnell out. A little bit of consternation there up front. There was, I think, some debate on both benches as to whether or not Harvard went over early, but officials let it go, and it turns into Crimson Point.
Yeah, where the ball was on that play that Stonehill was trying to appeal just seemed a little bit too close.
Yet zips it long. Stonehill takes it back, but still staring up at a 5-point gap. There's the serve from Frager. Clean pass from Piet. Out for Faltinsky, off the block, and Frager caught going the wrong way there.
Yeah, Frager moving in the right direction, really read the arm swing extremely well, and then the ball just took an unfortunate deflection for her off the block and just dropped to her left. That's so frustrating as a libero because you know you've read the play correctly. The ball is coming to you, and at the last second, your teammate is the one that changes the direction.
Murphy off the block. Patterson is there with the dig. Farquhar. And that's out of reach. Oh, Parnell landing hard on her teammate there. Fortunately, Graves able to get up without worry. Terrific shot that time from Farquhar. And how about the defense from Patterson?
Yeah, playing like a 6'1" libero right there.
Largest lead of the night for Harvard. And Patterson too strong on that serve.
And the lead that Harvard has built up so far in this second set, different coaches have different philosophies. You know, if you're down close, you don't want to be too aggressive on the serving, but you also can't be giving the opposing team free balls every time you have possession. But Harvard, it seems like they're not pulling any punches with their serving at this point in the set, despite being up by 6 pretty late.
Feels like they've turned the aggression up just a notch, and Stonehill trying to find a way to match it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Into the middle, tip returned. Aguirre goes out for Faltinsky again, rolled off the block, overpass. Zhang settles under it. Farquhar's turn, can't put it away yet. Set, off the antenna. Farrell may have just pushed that one a little bit too far, intending to get it to Murphy.
There have been so many plays that Stonehill has lost where the pass is phenomenal, the set is phenomenal, and it's just the hit, the final piece of the puzzle that has not been connected. If the Skyhawks really just start figuring that out and putting the ball over the net, finding some open spots on the floor, this could be a completely different ball game. They've played defensively and settingly so great.
Yeah, and that's been the big difference from set 1 to set 2. Stonehill was very low error in the first set. Haven't quite been able to maintain that through the second set. See Craig Martin crouched down in the huddle, former NE10 Coach of the Year. Stonehill actually made the NCAA Division II tournament their last year in Division II before making the jump. Picked up 3 wins a year ago, and as you said, when you're going through that transition process from Division Two to Division One, really feels like it's about just sort of hitting those little milestones along the way. Last year they picked up, 3 conference wins, which was big. They've already picked up their first non-conference Division One win this year with the victory over Holy Cross. So, now it's about finding a way to be competitive in the Northeast Conference and challenge for a top 4 spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's really the thing. I think a lot of people undercredit just how difficult it is to jump divisions and to go from D2 volleyball to D1 volleyball. Yes, it is the same game, but the speed and the level, it's just so much faster at the Division One level. So Stonehill, really, despite the kind of the poor record that they had last year, certainly not the record they wanted, has made a lot of really small wins.
Into the net that time from Franco. Yeah, everybody's a little bit bigger, everybody's a little bit quicker. But Stonehill has certainly risen to the occasion. And one good thing about the Northeast Conference is that they sort of overlook the transition, and if you make the top 4, you get an opportunity in the conference tournament.
Yeah. And the NEC has also kind of turned into a little bit of a landing pad for other schools that are looking to make that jump from D2 to D1, with Lemoyne doing it very recently, and Mercyhurst now on that path.
Yep, Mercyhurst, the new team into the NEC, is Lima zips an ace off of Fitch. Harvard starting to pull away here in set number 2.
Lead now 10, and Harvard has just seemingly almost effortlessly been finding the floor on all these plays.
Lima again, tough pass, and another ace. It's now 7 aces for the Crimson, the bulk of them coming in this set.
Yeah, it's so difficult for Stonehill because the set is so far ahead of you. You're now down by 11 points. It's just difficult to maintain focus.
Picked up there by Piet. Faltinsky off the block through the hands of Aguirre. He was in the right spot. The ball just got on her kind of quickly. Now, one thing Stonehill's done very well, they've got that block set up nicely on Faltinsky. They've gotten her more than a handful of times.
Yeah, I mean, they've been reading her extremely well, no matter where she is on the floor. And it almost looks like they're running a commit block on her, but I think it's just a standard 2-block rotation that has just been in the right place at the right time, multiple occasions.
She switches it up for a tip here. Bernardino, dug by Zhang. Aguirre to the middle, and it's kept up. Good first touch there by Shaman. A swing from Resmer. Aguirre on the dump. Shaman, setter on setter crime. Lima picks that one up. Faltinsky again. That time she finds the angle. 7th kill for Bryn Faltinsky. A couple more changes here. Set point for Harvard. Fury back into the front. Nice defensive shift there by Piet. And Wynn will try to serve it out. This is actually a change up here. Faltinsky stays in to serve. Had been Wynn in that spot. Fought over and then dumped right back down by Farrell.
Really good line drive serve there by Faltinsky, but Stonehill, not even the best pass, just able to stay ahead of the ball and make the point count.
Farrell hoping to get on a big run here. Goes right at Zhang. Aguirre out for Fury, and that will do it. 11 kills through 2 sets for Corinne Fury. The senior has matched her career high, and she's got another set to go. Harvard on top of Stonehill, 25-14. Crimson lead it 2-0.
Yeah, strong serving by Harvard and a handful of unforced errors by Stonehill really did them in at the end of that second set. If they can get on top of that, if they can manage the passing a little bit better, and if they can just make a handful of fewer unforced errors at the net, Stonehill could definitely be in this match. They probably lost, I don't have an exact number, but I want to say 6, 7, 8 points just on missed serves and poor plays.
Well, I'm saying it was really all about that first touch. Sort of got away from them there later on in the second set. Harvard will start with the serve here in the third with Aguirre. Challenges Berardino, and again, Stonehill out of system, forced to give up the free ball. Aguirre has to chase a little bit. Fury turned away with a block in the net. So another unforced error from the Skyhawks that time.
So not a great pass on the serve by Stonehill, sending a free ball back over, but it wasn't a great handling of the free ball by Harvard.
And Aguirre follows it up with another ace. He had a ton of English on that ball. They have credited Fury with a kill there on that block in the net. So that is officially now a new career high with 12 kills for Corinne Fury. Previous high 11 set 2 Octobers ago against Princeton. Hopefully for Harvard, a sign of things to come from the senior.
Yeah, everything else for Fury at this point on is just insurance on that record.
Fury with the initial pass, back up set, tipped into the block by Farquhar. Fury again has to bring it back. Parnell has to go with a one-hand set there. Nice hit on the move. Overpass, tipped down. Crafty play there by Gabby Polishuk.
I don't know if I've ever seen a punch set the way I just did off the hand of Parnell, but it seemed to work out. And yeah, Polishuk just keeping her eyes open and making a really strong play on a loose ball coming over the net.
Serve ends up getting hammered out by Berardino. Harvard takes back over after an exchange of 2-0 runs.
I know how we saw the way the first two sets go. Very close, both sides kind of trading some points. Maybe one would go on a streak for a little bit. But the early goings of the first two sets have been razor close.
Yet again in the defensive and serving role here. Bumped over. Aguirre to the middle. Patterson couldn't get that one over again. Seemed like the set just a little low for her liking.
Yeah, second time we've seen a set like that. Obviously, this early in the season, you're going to have Aguirre and Patterson not exactly on the same page on every single play, but yeah, Patterson's been given a couple of serves that just weren't up to her specifications.
Farquhar off the net. Recovered nicely by Farrell. Polishuk able to sneak it through, kept alive, and tipped over and in. I believe credit will go to Faltinsky there. Zhang was in the neighborhood. Have to be careful, though, when you cross that 10-foot line as a libero.
Yeah, that's always a tricky situation, but credit to Farquhar flashing the left hand, keeping that ball alive and giving Patterson the chance to make a play.
Overpass directed down by Resmer.
Such good hands by Resmer. You don't want to have that slap off the hands. You don't want to give Stonehill the opportunity to kind of use that on a cover and get a free possession out of it, but just soft hands, puts it in an unoccupied spot.
Patterson serve into the net. For Resmer, she's up to 6 kills now. Nice debut. Former ABCA All-American watch list.
We haven't seen much of Resmer on the slide, which Jen Weiss was really excited about. A lot of her success in this game has come just on kind of standard one balls.
Farquhar forced into the block. Farrell is there. Now they've run it a couple of times, but for a good chunk, especially in the first set, Harvard was playing out of system. Tough to run those slides off of tough passes. Harvard again trying to make something happen. Faltinsky switching it up to the left hand. Polishuk blocked. That time it's Resmer with the block, pairing with Farquhar.
Resmer is just playing well above her years right now. Has been so composed at the net, has been reading everything beautifully, and has just been on the spot every single time.
Probably Lima again in to serve. Nearly an overpass. Lima with a diving effort. Faltinsky again the tip, saved by Shaman. Fitch. Picked up in the back. Resmer out of the middle. Did she get a deflection? Yes, she did. So again, nice transition set. Aguirre to Resmer. Nice debut for first year middle for Harvard.
Yeah, almost more impressive than what Resmer is doing on her own as a freshman is that she's got such a great connection with her senior setter.
Long set. Faltinsky takes care of it. And side spinning ball. Franco didn't make clean contact there.
It might seem easy on TV, but that is one of the hardest balls to make a play on in the sport of volleyball. High arcing, you know it's the last touch. You want to put a little something on it just to make sure the other team has a little bit of trouble, but it's just so difficult to have that come off the hand correctly for Franco.
Luna leaves that one short. It's going to be the 10th missed serve for Harvard, but they back that up with 8 aces as well. So it's probably enough of a trade-off that Jen Weiss is willing to take. Faltinsky again. Another out-of-system set. Stonehill, tons of time to set up that block.
Yeah, Stonehill, really tall front row right now. A lot of experience, and with a block like that, it's going to be difficult no matter who you are to get through.
Polishuk with a serve. Another tight pass. Aguirre. Zhang comes in. Faltinsky off the hands. Falls for Polishuk. Bernardino tried to sneak that one down the line, but the window wasn't there.
Really compact double blocking by Harvard so far. I've said Resmer's name a few times, but it's really anybody that's been playing on the front row. And even with the 5-1 offense, it's been Aguirre a handful of times, but the blocking, especially for this early in the season, has looked really good.
And a win in the serve. Long run for Shaman. Tough set. Bernardino can't fix it. Just didn't bring her back enough into the court. Shaman had to chase it down on the run. However, trying to open up another big lead here in the third. Off the chest of Fitch. Bernardino again, a tough angle. Aguirre. Faltinsky, and they got Fury, excuse me. And again, the block is there. Stonehill has done a very good job getting on these Harvard outsides. Crimson continue to send it out to their strong side hitters, but Stonehill has been up to the task.
It's been really kind of great to see for Stonehill. When you look at their numbers from earlier this season, they were only averaging in the first 4 games 1.4 blocks per set. And while a good amount of these blocks aren't going down for points exactly for the Skyhawks, it is getting Harvard kind of off their marks and keeping the ball alive for Stonehill.
There's an ace for Zhang. Harvard grows the lead to 4. At 2 points, Stonehill actually out blocking Harvard 6-4 right now. Both teams had 4 through the first 2 sets. Another tough serve and another ace for the Crimson. They're now into double figures from the line.
Yeah, the serve reception has been certainly needing of improvement for Stonehill. And if you look at their first 4 games, oh my goodness, there's another service ace for Harvard. But Stonehill has allowed 27 service aces entering this game. And Harvard just keeps piling more and more on.
Zhang's just on a tear right now. Looking for another. It's an overpass. Well, Fury wound up and ended up in the net as a result. She was thinking, smash that one through the floor, and just didn't time it right. So a little bit of a break there for Stonehill. They'll take it, get out of that rotation. They'll get to their setter switch as well as Parnell and Graves come back in. Good pass from Wynn. Tough set for Fury. Oh, she just threw it off of Michalowski there. It's a veteran play by a senior.
Yeah, it didn't even really look like Fury jumped. It looked like she just kind of ran up to the ball and threw it off the block in front of her. That's certainly efficient.
13 kills now for Corinne Fury. Again, a new career high. Graves off the hands and out. Graves, a very good story. Actually started her career at Division III Eastern Nazarene College, which is actually not far from us, just south of Boston in Quincy, Mass. And eventually would go on to be an all-conference first-teamer with the Lions in 2021, then made the move to Stonehill. Again, to your point, like a lot of players thinking, oh, make a jump to Division II.
Yeah.
And then eventually makes the jump all the way to Division I, and now she's here as a senior starting for the Skyhawks.
Yeah, skipped a step there, but you wouldn't have guessed it. She's really played up to whatever level she's been playing at. And when she gets a good set and when she can really swing into a ball, she's one of the best hitters on this team.
Couple changes for Harvard. Piet comes back into the back row. Serve here for Fury. Faltinsky returns to the front. Serve is long from Piet. So again, this is sort of where you have to look at the serving numbers and sort of do some math. Harvard's got 11 aces. They've got 11 errors, but again, it feels like a trade-off they are willing to make for as many times as they put Stonehill out of system.
Yeah, exactly. You always want to be aggressive on your serve, and it's almost never going to be the case where you have more aces than errors. That's just kind of the nature of the game. But even on the balls where Harvard might not be getting aces, they're certainly putting Stonehill on the back foot, getting them out of system, and setting up their own attack.
Zhang tried to fight it off, couldn't control it. Kill there for Paloma Gonzalez Yaramillo, freshman out of Texas. Inserted into the rotation here. Now an ace from Prager. So here comes a little mini run for the Skyhawks. Not ready to go quietly in this third set.
Yeah, they're now up to 4.
Faltinsky, clean pass there, but then she's blocked. Graves all over that one. And Graves kind of had Faltinsky's number there on that outside pin.
A one-on-one matchup, and Graves just wins that battle. Does so good getting her arms above the net, and Faltinsky just nowhere to go.
Jen Weiss has seen enough. Going to call a timeout here. Stonehill on a run. Work their way back within 2 here at 16-14. Greg Martin making a couple lineup tweaks, inserting Gonzalez Yaramillo. Prager giving him some help at the service line.
That's exactly what Harvard's trying to do. They've been dominating the serving game basically from opening whistle. Like you said, 11 service aces to 11 service errors. On the Stonehill side, that is 4 aces to 7 service errors. So in terms of just the strict game at the line, it's definitely been Harvard, but Stonehill has seemingly found another gear in the past couple of moments and is starting to apply a little bit of pressure to Harvard here in the third.
Both teams trying to get on track offensively in this third set, both hitting below 100. So, big bit of that can sort of be traced back to that aggression from both teams serving-wise. And you play out of system, you're not often going to be hitting at a high percentage.
Yeah, he was not going to find winners that way. Although I will say defensively, Stonehill is holding Harvard to a much lower hitting percentage than opponents usually hit against the Skyhawks. The first 4 games, Stonehill was allowing teams to hit .319 against them, and Harvard just at .169 right now.
Patterson into the block, but over the Stonehill side. Back row chance. Patterson again, forced to tip. Out of the middle, Patterson got a piece, recovers. Faltinsky throws it at Parnell. Got away with that one maybe. Faltinsky again, crushes it. That time, Faltinsky wins the one-on-one.
Great jump, great set. And Faltinsky just opening up the shoulder at the last second, not trying to sneak down the line again against Graves, and instead goes cross-court on that, and that is on the money.
8th kill for the junior. Patterson with the serve. Back set Graves, the tip. Slowed by the block, and it was out of the reach of Patterson. Graves now with 6 kills. Right up there among the team leaders for Stonehill.
Yeah, sometimes the most aggressive option isn't the best option, and Graves, just with that tip, with the presence of mind to put that in play, just drops a point down.
Tinsky let it go. Wasn't 100% on it, but the ball missed out. Here comes Amelie Lima serving for Farquhar. Lima's already played more tonight than she did all of last season as a first year. One set played a year ago at a serve error. She's featured in all 3 sets so far. Gonzalez Yaramillo with the swing. Fury bouncing it again off the block. Check that, Faltinsky. Now up to 9 kills. Looking to join Fury in the double-digit category.
And you said Lima only 1 set played with 1 set error. That's really the only stat she had last season. She's got 3 of Harvard's 11 aces today.
Off of Resmer and out. Caught leaning that time as Abby Farrell picks up the kill. In-state product out of Reading, Massachusetts, Reading Memorial High School. Polishuk. It's been good at the line. Aguirre on the dump, and it's just out of the reach of Frager. Gave it everything she had, but full extension wasn't enough that time for the Stonehill barrel.
Always have to keep your eyes peeled up for Aguirre whenever she's in the front row. She's a very tall setter at 6 foot flat. And that's already the second time that she's converted a setter dump into a point for Harvard.
16 kills for Aguirre a year ago, and that's when she was playing only in the back row. Now in this new 5-1 offense, she's playing in the front row and wins the joust there. Bernardino blocked by Aguirre and Resmer. Bernardino second time through, off of Resmer and out. Second time a charm for Bernardino.
And although Harvard lost that play, it just goes to show that the court vision and the presence of mind that Aguirre has. She stayed at that right pin because she saw that the free ball, or the ball that Stonehill was receiving, was really only going to allow an attack to that left pin. She stayed there, put her in a great spot for the block.
Elevation from Corinne Fury there. Quick response by Harvard to get the side out. Crimson by 4. Trying to put this one away in straight sets on opening night. Zhang had 3 aces on her last run. Bernardino sends it to her. Tipped by Aguirre. Bernardino throws it to win. Aguirre to Fury. Going for the corner. Polishuk reads it. Bernardino again. It's blocked. Patterson's there. Oh, saved by Finch, but nobody can get to it. Once again, Patterson like a kernel in a popcorn popper.
That ball, it took ages to get to the court. Stonehill doing such a good job to keep it alive for the moment, but just not enough to win the play. And Patterson has just been so bouncy, has been so adaptive and responsive at the front of the net.
Timeout taken by the Skyhawks. I'll make one final charge at it. Look at what's coming up for the Crimson here. They will start their Saturday off against Merrimack at 1 o'clock. You can see it here on ESPN Plus as well on Nesson, televised locally in the New England area. And Harvard will finish out the weekend with the evening tip against UNH tomorrow night. That'll be a good battle. 2 teams went to 5 sets a year ago, and for a UNH team that brings just about everybody back from last year, chomping at the bit for some revenge in this tournament. Harvard will take another local trip next weekend. They'll head down to Rhode Island, who's hosting, along with Stony Brook and Northern Illinois. And then Delaware State's the farthest trip that Harvard has to make this year. So not a ton of travel, even, inside the Ivy League. Harvard doesn't go any further than upstate New York to Cornell or down to Philly to take on Penn. So, relatively light-ish travel schedule for the Crimson this year.
Yeah, it's all pretty compressed, and that's good for the athletes. They like the short bus rides.
Zhang with a nice pickup off the swing from Farrell. Slide ball to Patterson, and that's a new wrinkle for Riley Patterson.
We were not expecting the jump off of the 1 foot for Riley Patterson. Really, the only person getting that kind of chatter was Riley Resmer from Jen Weiss. But the sophomore middle blocker seemingly doing everything today.
Patterson with a block there. Sent over to Berardino. Patterson again. Pin to pin blocking.
Wow. I mean, Patterson has been everywhere so far this game. Faltinsky has been phenomenal. Corinne Fury. You've got three players that are vying for player of the match.
Set point, match point for Harvard. Patterson got a piece of it. Aguirre for Fury. She'll cap it. A career night for Corinne Fury. And Harvard celebrates an opening night victory. They survive a nervy first set and take care of business against Stonehill. The Crimson will go to 1-0 on the year. Improved to 2-0 all time against Stonehill. The Skyhawks fall for the fourth time this season in 5 matches. Stonehill, though, will put on a good battle in that first set, and you see when they have the rhythm going, they can be a dangerous team.
Yeah, when their passing is on, when their sets are crisp and their hitters are in a kind of vibe with the setter, they're a really dangerous team. There were flashes where, between in a 4 or 5 point stretch, I thought Stonehill at points looked like the better team against Harvard. They've got a lot to be happy about, especially in that first set, and they've got a lot to look forward to at this future in D1